Let's say you've never watched anything from this cultural phenomenon that is the Marvel Cinematic Universe. If you were just to come at it for the first time ever, I think it would be really overwhelming. There's, 30 some movies at this point. That's a minimum of 2 hours a pop. Which one do you start with? What order did they come out in? It's not neatly labeled. You might think, well, I should just, go back to the beginning and start with the first one. But don't do that, because the first one is the Edward Norton Hulk and you're going to hate it. No, what you'd want is somebody to sit you down and be like, oh, okay, I know what kind of movies you like. I know what kind of stuff you're into. Do this. Based on what you're into, you're going to like Iron Man, then Captain America, then the big first Avenger movie, then do Civil War, then do Infinity War. It's going to work for you. You'll get a sense of the plot and the characters and all of that stuff. Okay, so let's say we're dealing with the same question, but about the Bible. I don't know that I want to read all 66 books in this big expanded universe, but I'd like to get into this. I'd like to feel it out a little bit. It's overwhelming. Where do I start? Well, likewise, I guess you got to think about who you're talking to, because everybody's into different stuff. So what I want to do in this video is consider 4 different kinds of people. I want to invite you to think about which kind of person you might most be like. And I'm just going to throw out 4 different little get started short mini reading plans so that you can get a toe in the water with the Bible if you'd like to size it up without committing to this whole gigantic thing. If you're the kind of person who just likes to get things done, get the information you need and get on with it, you already feel like this video is going on for too long, then you need to read Mark, then Acts, then Colossians. You're welcome. You can go now. If you're the kind of person who has some history with religion and you like the ideas behind things and you want to understand the why of everything and you don't mind doing a little bit of extra work to dig deep into that stuff, then I would recommend that you start with the book of Matthew. Now, Matthew is the first of 4 books that cover basically the same story. These are called the Gospels. They're the first books of the New Testament, and they all tell the story of Jesus, but from different angles. They line up, but they're different points of emphasis. Matthew is the one that is a direct continuation out of the whole Old Testament. We'll talk about that more in a little bit. The next place you should go is to the book of Acts, which tells the story of what Jesus' followers did, how Christianity caught on and spread around the world. When you get done with that, the next really obvious question is going to be, how do we reconcile the religion that Christianity was born out of, that is Judaism, with this new thing that is based on Jesus and Christianity? Isn't there going to be friction here? And the answer is, yeah, there was friction. And the books of Galatians and Hebrews deal with that in a very practical and a very philosophical, theological way, respectively. If you're the kind of person who likes movies or books that really make you think and really make you wonder and are designed to jab and push and prod at you and make you reconsider everything about how you see the world and yourself, and it's okay if you don't have all the answers right at the end, but you know you're dealing with something profound, then I would recommend starting with the Gospel of John. He's got almost an otherworldly perspective on the life of Jesus and the mission of Jesus and where you might fit. Then again, I would hit the book of Acts, because you need to fill in the response to the teachings of Jesus no matter where you start. And after that, I would go to the book of 1 John, where he wrestles with another group of people who come along and have a little different take, while also arguing for his understanding of who Jesus is and what he was doing. This stuff is mind-opening, and it will push you, and it will not ultimately be satisfying or complete. You're going to have questions, but I have a ton of friends who most gravitate toward that kind of storytelling and those types of ideas. If you are into the long-form HBO epic Game of Thrones style story, I would recommend that you start with the Gospel of Luke and then go straight into its sequel, the book of Acts. The same guy wrote both. He was present for parts of the story, and he doesn't write from the perspective of somebody who assumes you know lots of religious things, but he assumes you're smart. He assumes you're a savvy consumer of a story, the same way the great long-form TV series assume that you're a smart, savvy viewer. And so it invites you into this world. You get a great mix of the actions of Jesus, as well as the expositional dialogue and monologue of Jesus. You get a great sense of this smooth, natural story between what Jesus did and then what people did coming out of that. As soon as you get done with that portion, I would recommend reading the book of Romans. This gives you a very detailed sense of an ordered theology, philosophy of life, philosophy of Christian religion coming out of who Jesus is and what the church is about. And when you get done with that, if you want to tear into something that'll take you even a little bit deeper, read the letter to the Ephesian church. This is some deep water, challenging philosophical stuff, but you'll be ready for it and see it as a natural conversation that flows out of Jesus, the church, and the book of Romans. I would love to hear in the comment section from anybody who has other ideas for a toe in the water reading list, and I would especially love to hear from any of you who grab one of these reading lists and run through it after you get done with that. Would be fascinated to hear your thoughts on all of this. Thanks for kicking this around with me. I'm Matt. This is the 10-Minute Bible Hour. See you soon.